So obviously I have many different offices. This is my downstairs office. As you can see, I have a library. I do a lot of reading. Unfortunately, in the past couple of years, I am currently in a PhD program myself. And so I want you to understand this little video is about the importance of reading. And it's because I went to school overseas. You'll see that in my biography that I went to school at Cambridge University, St. Catherine's College. Cambridge College, just like Oxford, is made up of many different colleges. And within Cambridge, I attended a summer program with about 3 classes that I had to prepare for. And in most European countries, which, by the way, are ahead of us academically and rank higher than us on the United States in almost every area, from reading to math to English, they just rank higher than us. And so a lot of it goes to like how they prepare their students and what they expect of their students. So one of the things to take into consideration is like over there, if the class had 12 books, I had to read 12 books before class started, so that when you came to class, you were prepared to have thought through the material, to approach it differently, to formulate your questions. I'm in a philosophy program right now for aesthetic and art theory. And a lot of the questions, I'm using a philosopher named Heidegger in my paper. And Heidegger talks about doingness and the importance of doing things for knowledge. And we'll talk about that later. But also he talks about forming a question and how important it is to form your questions. So when I say there are no dumb questions, there aren't. But I am expecting that you do the reading. And I know that you all have busy lives. Clearly, in a PhD program, I have a very busy life on top of my academic work, my friends, my activities that I do. I'm extremely busy. But there are tips on how to be able to read. So if you've heard, I'll just skim it. Well, skimming a textbook means that you're barely reading it. And you can't do that and be able to have those key concepts stick in your head. So what I'm going to expect that you do is what's called chewing, which chewing means that you're not skimming and you're not really thoroughly reading it, but you are somewhere in between where you're taking in key concepts, and basically things like if you get stuck on a word that you don't know, you underline that word or highlight that word in your online PDF, and you keep going. You go look the word up later. You don't stop yourself from reading. And you also read a little bit faster so that you are grasping key concepts, but you're kind of plowing through the text. So there's all these little tips and techniques that can help you assimilate and absorb what you're learning. The other one I am going to be doing is I do offer an extra credit for handwritten notes. And I have provided a video that explains, there's a link to another video, a Nova documentary on how it's called How Smart Can We Get? And you have the ability to physiologically change the size of your brain and how you think and how you problem solve by using your hands. And I learned this lesson, as I explained in the video that leads into watching the Nova documentary, is I got a tub when my dad moved to the west side of the state with all of my notebooks from the University of Michigan. And I kept them, and it's been fun to go back and look at them, but I realized just how many notes I took. Now, why does that make a difference? I was working 40 hours a week at Buick as a temporary on contract assignment. I was working at my parents' small business 5 or 15 hours a week, and I was taking a 22-hour class load at night, which is 6 classes. I don't know how I did it. I think it's just I wanted out of school so badly, but I was aligning what I was learning during the day with the key concepts of what I was learning in the textbook at night. So I will offer a reflection paper at the end as extra credit. So you want to start thinking about that reflection paper now and how you are aligning what you do every day grocery shopping, buying car insurance, going to a game, a football game, and having to deal with spectators and the cost of food in a football stadium versus the cost of the food at the store versus the cost of food at 7-Eleven. All these things are things that you take in every day. And I'm going to ask that you start to think about what you're doing every day, what you see every day, so that when you're taking in this textbook, that you are aligning, oh, hey, okay, I understand this concept because I did this, or my mom did this, or my brother did this. That will help embed these key concepts that you're reading in the textbook much faster and deeper, so that when you leave this class, you didn't just take the course and get good grades and then leave all the ideas behind, that you carry those ideas forward, because you're going to need them in other classes. You will need them in your career. These key terms that you're using, you can use them in a job interview and really impress somebody that has an opening for, let's say, marketing or business. So it's really important that you learn these techniques on how to be able to retain what you're reading, but that you're also doing the reading, and don't take that shortcut. Now, I'll get back to someday reading for pleasure, but right now that is not the case for me. I am reading deep philosophical texts where literally either Kant or Heidegger, it's so difficult to read. I can only read 2 sentences and then I have to stop because my brain blows up. I don't understand what I've read. Again, I'm a business and education. I'm now going completely different and learning philosophy, new terms, metaphysical, ontology, modernity, all these words that I didn't know what they meant before I got into this program. So there's ways to be able to manage reading, and reading for comprehension and reading for retention. So I'm going to ask that you work very hard at that, because it's going to be a success factor for you in the future. And then making sure that you can recite those in the papers that you write, or in short answer quizzes that you might take. Again, going back to the discussion on communication, I'm expecting even your short answers in your essays or in quizzes to be well thought out, to have proper grammar. What I don't want to see is, I do not want to see the language that you use when you text. That is absolutely unacceptable in professional writing. So that's why I spent so much time on the last video going into professional writing and how to be able to communicate properly. So when you're reading, I want you to understand that we here in the US read a book chapter by chapter. So if you have the time and you can budget reading in advance, because your next week is going to be really busy, crazy, read it. Take the time and budget your time properly to read the chapter that's due each week. So in each week, there's a module in D2L, and each week there will be assigned readings that you have to read. And then there will be either quizzes or discussion questions or whatever there is, depending on the class that you're taking. But you're going to want to go into D2L and look at the course content and then follow each week, because each week this is not a class that you can take and just turn your assignments in whenever you'd like. That's not this type of class. This class is that there are weekly assignments with weekly due dates. So you need to make sure that you're getting things done each week, which includes the readings. So please make sure that you're reading everything. If you have any questions about the readings, reach out to me. Happy to discuss things, clarify concepts. But again, you can use your reading to take notes and use those handwritten notes for your extra credit points. So there's different ways. And if you can't, for some reason, take handwritten notes, please communicate with me, because there are other things that I am willing to accept for people who have accommodations or special needs. I will be able to provide some ways that you can still do the assignment, but those are extreme circumstances. Otherwise, I am expecting you to get the benefit of using your brain in a different way. And again, I'll give you a hint to how smart can we get video. Einstein physiologically changed the size of his brain by using his hands in different ways. So, different, kinesis and kinetic ways of learning that can help you retain information faster and keep it with you.